Okay, next question is from Dangerously Talented. He asks, why are you moving in the middle of the Alaskan winter? I have read one of those Jack London books. I know it gets very cold. Well, we didn't move in the middle of winter by choice. My wife was offered a job here, too good to pass up. And since, again, most of my main work that I'm doing now is online, I can do it from anywhere. So we made the decision to move, but the job was starting literally from the time she was notified. She was expected to start 2 weeks later. It was really, really quick. So not only did we have to move in the middle of winter, but we had 5 days to pack. It was pretty amazing. It was amazing that we pulled it off. So, yeah, that's why we moved in the middle of winter. And it wasn't bad. Actually, again, as I think I mentioned in my update videos, the weather was actually pretty good to us. It got to about negative 30 just briefly on our drive through the Yukon. But for the most part, it was around 0 to negative 10, which is cold, but it's not, that's the laws of physics as they affect rubber and automobiles and such. It's not below that level where you start getting weird phenomena with like tires breaking and that kind of stuff. So we were pretty lucky that way. All right, so Matt O'Neill, he asks, can you name a moment or instance when you experienced a revelation that changed your way of thinking? Well, way back when I made my very first early YouTube videos, I did a video on why I became an atheist, and I think that's probably the most profound moment of my life, because unlike a lot of people where, doubt came in slowly, mine was like scales from my eyes. I mean, it was a really, really, and essentially what happened, I'll give a short version of it here, is, I used to be a little fundamentalist back in the day, and anybody with that no true Christian bullshit, I don't want to hear it. Doesn't matter. Anyway. But anyway, I was, in my up to my early teen years in childhood, I was pretty strongly fundamentalist, and the church I attended, Nazarene Church. We had a pastor there who had gone to the Middle East on one of those Bible tours, where you walk the footsteps of Jesus and all this kind of stuff all over the Middle East, and he had taken pictures of a bunch of nets on a big rock, and he read the little chapter from Ezekiel about the destruction of the city of Tyre and how he was prophesied, and then he went there and took pictures just like the book said, where it's now just a bare rock. And I thought it was at the time the most amazing and profound thing that I'd ever seen. I mean, to me it was like, how could any thinking person doubt that the Bible is the inspired word of God with that kind of detail? And I'd say for a long year, months, I don't know, whenever I had any chance to proselytize, I always brought up that. It was my favorite Bible story, my favorite, it became, I read everything I could on the subject. And then I mentioned it one time to a teacher at school, and she had gone to the Middle East, and she had talked about traveling around, and I mentioned that our pastor had done that, and we were just chatting about things, and I mentioned about Tyre, and I asked her if she'd ever heard about that from Ezekiel, and she said, well, actually, that they actually spent some time in Tyre. I think she'd either gone there, maybe she hadn't gone there, but she was in Lebanon. I don't know if she actually went to the place, but anyway, she said, actually, Tyre is still around. It's a huge city, and I was like, no, it's a barren rock. It says right here, no city will ever be rebuilt there, and whatever. And so I went to the library that afternoon or whatever. I don't know what time of day it was, but we went, and I found a Time Life book, and it had this fold-out thing. I think it was a Time Life book, and it had this like center fold-out of the city of Tyre, with like old buildings and skyscrapers and Marriott Hotel or whatever, and it was like modern city of Tyre. It had like a little caption about the modern city of Tyre, built alongside the ruins of ancient Tyre, one of the oldest continuously occupied cities in the world, and so I went and looked more encyclopedia, whatever, and I was just like, I realized it's like, hey, this prophecy never happened. So what did he take a picture of? I thought, oh, maybe he made a mistake. My thought was that, that this man who I practically worshipped had made an error. Like maybe he, I don't know. And so I went. Anyway, so I'm sorry. I don't want to keep going on and on about this. And so when I went and asked him about it, he got really, really pissed at me. I went home, and over that weekend, I realized it's like, wow, there's no God. And it seems like there wasn't like one thing just leapt to that. I mean, it was an ongoing process that I think I was unaware of going on in the background of my head. And so it sort of hit that point, and I was like, this, it was sort of the final straw, I guess, but it was very profound. It was devastating, but it was also very, very profound. I realized that, and later on I found out, I saw other pictures of the city of Tyre, and I realized that when he took that picture, for him to have taken that picture where he took it of the fishermen drying their net, there is a rock in Tyre that people dry their nets on. It's a small rock, it's not big enough to hold the city anyways. You have to stand on the breakwater with your back to the city of Tyre. So you turn around, and there's the freaking fourth largest city in Lebanon behind you. Which meant he lied. He was a freaking liar, and I think that was a big part of it. Anyway, very profound. It changed everything, made me who I am today. So I suppose I should thank the guy for being dipshit of the decade back then, because I don't know what I would be without him. So anyway, Sumatashi24 asks, what got you into your line of work, arthropods? Well, I've always loved arthropods. Who couldn't? I've always, as a kid, collected bugs. One of my best friends growing up in kindergarten collected spiders, which is kind of cool. Actually had kept live spiders in the tanks all around his room. He was we were in kindergarten, first grade. I mean, we were really young. I was very interested in arthropods, and so. But then when I got into, once I got into adulthood, and fascinated with the theory of evolution, arthropods are such great. I mean, they're not as well. It's not as well known as things like horse lineages or Archaeopteryx and that kind of stuff as evidences, but fossils and living, and I mean, they're the pinnacle of evolution, and they just illustrate it better than just about anything else. My username LithodidMan is based on lithodid crabs, king crabs, that are clearly evolved hermit crabs. So anyway, that's kind of got me into it. I'm fascinated with all biology, but I have a soft spot for arthropods. Let's see here, 8 minutes. So I got, I'll do this one last question. Can you show us some of those skulls and other artifacts that are behind you in the videos and tell us about them? Well, actually, if you do a search of my videos, look for skulls, I think, in the title. I did a video about the skulls, and I actually did a video about my fossils, seashells, and skulls. 3 different videos on those, just showing what I had. So I'll probably do more down the road about that. Okay, I guess time for one more. A triviality. If you had a time machine, what time period would you go to? Probably last Saturday. What was it? A Red Dwarf, Crichton says he wants to go back to last Tuesday when they were all folding sheets together. It's just very funny. But no, I honestly, I think I would want to go to, it's kind of that question of, who would you want to meet, who would you want to have dinner with or something. But I really, and it's not a cliche, I really want to meet Charles Darwin. I would love to talk to Darwin. Just pick his brain. I don't know, to me it would be fascinating. It was an amazing time scientifically. It was an incredible time. And I think that's where I would certainly want to go. Of course, there's always the go back and see if Jesus was real or something, but I think I'd still prefer Darwin. Okay, I am going to finish this now, and then I will do another. I'll do part 5. So thanks.